Hello, and welcome to our show. It's called A Place to Call Home. I'm Portia Evans, and my very special guest, oh Lord have mercy, live in studio with me today to tell her story is a friend, Consuela Gaines. I said to tell her story because this young lady has been released after 22 years of incarceration in the Louisiana state prison system. Welcome to the show, Consuela.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being brave enough to share this story because I believe that your story is going to help somebody, especially some young lady that doesn't realize, you know, you have consequences for the choices that you make in your life. So take me to the beginning. And I understand that you were a very young girl. And my first thought when I was about to have this conversation, when I said, if she did 22 years, she had to commit a murder or something. She had to take somebody's life. So take me to the beginning and you begin to tell me that story.
Okay, Portia. I was 23 years old when I met my man,
Met
Gordon.
and fell in love.
Met and fell in love with Gordon Thomas Jr. in Opelousas. We became pretty much best friends. You know, he was everything. He was my everything. When you saw him, you saw me, and vice versa. And, we spent a lot of time together. And like I said, when I met him, he was out on bond.
Oh my.
He was out on bond. He had 4 counts of armed robbery. So he knew that he was facing some time. And as time went on, it got closer time for him to be sentenced, and he didn't want to leave me.
Hmm.
So
And you didn't want him to
and
leave.
no, I definitely didn't want him to leave either. So we pretty much ran from him having to go to court. So the police, they were looking for him. I don't know how or who tipped them off to where we were located in Lafayette, but it ended up being a standoff between him and the Lafayette Police Department. But he was later comprehended. He was arrested and taken to Opelousas to face his charges. And there he was for 30 days. And during that 30 days, in my mind, I'm scheming and plotting, how can I get my man out of jail?
Hmm.
And within those 30 days, I concocted that plan before he was to go up to be sentenced. And the day that he was sentenced, right after he was sentenced, they were breaking.
What was his sentence?
His sentence was 20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
So I'm finna lose this man.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So I'm like, thinking, how is this going to be possible? How am I going to survive
or live without.
my rib? This is what I'm thinking, and I'm not just thinking about myself. I'm thinking about his family because I know how close he was with his parents, his sisters, brother, his grandmother. I saw the relationship, and I saw how loving he was with his family and how much they loved and respected and looked up to him. And with him being a former Marine, he was in the Marines for 3 years and was honorably discharged. So he wasn't your average guy that was out there just committing these crimes. Like I said, we were both young. I was 23, but he was even younger than that when he committed the crimes that he did. And by the time we met, everything had pretty much already been laid out. And the day he was sentenced, I went to the parish jail. I had a sawed-off shotgun, and I was determined to get my man out of jail. And I approached the deputy that was escorting him back across the street to the parish jail, and I just politely asked him. I said, excuse me, can you uncuff Gordon Thomas? And he turned around and he said, oh, no, baby, I can't do that. So, and I've got the bag over my shoulder with the gun in it. It was a canvas bag. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to have to use a little bit more force. And I pulled the sawed-off shotgun, held it at my waist, and I said, I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, excuse me, can you uncuff Gordon Thomas?
Very polite.
Yeah.
A polite criminal.
Yeah, and he turned around and he was like, oh, baby, it doesn't have to be all that, So then...
Did he uncuff it?
He took off one handcuff and one shackle off of Gordon, and Gordon immediately grabbed the gun from me because he didn't want anybody to shoot me because I had the gun in my hand. He took the gun from me. And there were some ladies who were sitting in a powder blue Cadillac Brown. And it was like pretty much right where we were. And Gordon tapped on the window and was like, excuse me, I need your car. And they didn't know what was going on because they weren't paying attention. And the ladies were like, what? What are you talking about? He was like, yeah, I need your car. So the deputy was like, give him your car. And he knew the ladies by name because they were court reporters. And he was like, get out the car. And
so y'all took the car?
And we got in the car. And we left. And the authorities were clueless as to where we were, where we went.
And how long did you stay gone at that point?
8 days.
8 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then the inevitable, something you kind of, I know in them 8 days felt was going to happen.
Yeah.
So you got caught.
Yeah.
And got sentenced to?
My original sentence was 72 years.
72 years.
Yeah. 72 years.
And what, you plea bargained or?
No, we initially went to trial. We were charged in state and federal courts.
Okay.
We went to federal court first, were found guilty. I was sentenced to 6 years. My husband was sentenced to 27 and a half years.
Was this your husband?
Yeah. We got married while we were on the run.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to ask whatever happened to Gordon.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but ultimately, you got sentenced to how many years?
47.
And you were sent to?
St. Gabriel.
St. Gabriel Correctional Institute in St. Gabriel, Louisiana.
Yeah.
The institution especially set aside for women in this state.
Mm-hmm.
And at 23 years old, you walked in as a 23-year-old
mm-hmm.
into this place. What did that feel like?
Oh, it was devastating, especially knowing how my family must have felt, how my parents must have been feeling. The fact that here were two young people who really didn't have that to do.
Right.
We really didn't have that to do. I mean, our families weren't the richest, but they were rich in love. They cared about all of their children on both sides. Our families were connected because my brother is married to my husband's sister.
Okay.
So we're related either way it goes, so.
But I just wanted to know, Consuela, I want you to say something to young girls who might have it on their mind, might be, I said from the onset, there's a consequence to decisions you make. And our criminal justice system is full of men and women in this state. I've said for years and years and years, once somebody pays attention to the women that are incarcerated in this state, we'd reduce recidivism and everything else. People fail to realize that most of the women incarcerated leave behind children. They leave behind children. You didn't have any children.
No, no.
You were blessed
Yeah.
not to
That
be
was a
in that
blessing.
situation and leave behind a child. But most of these women leave behind children. So who's there to raise the children? Normally the grandparents, or if they're blessed, the grandparents. Sometimes the fathers are in their lives. But most times these children end up raising themselves.
That's true.
They are angry, they are hurt, you know, and I've said for years we need to address and pay attention, because in the men facilities, let's just get it out there, the men are afforded a whole lot more opportunities than women are.
Mm-hmm.
They get to go to work release, they get to go to halfway houses, they get to earn money. Do you know of many halfway houses still here in Louisiana for women?
Probably 3.
3. And how many inmates would you say are at St. Gabriel? What's the numbers
It's
look like?
about, they were down to about 900.
900 women.
Because they had gone up to about 1,200 at one point. But then they started getting rid of some offenders, because right now no inmates are living at LCIW because there was a flood.
Okay.
And LCIW was flooded out.
Okay.
So the women are spread all over. They're at Hunt, they're at Angola, they're at JCCY.
Oh my.
They're all over Louisiana
Oh
right
my.
now. Yeah, they're in Cottonport, they're in Rayville,
Right.
they're everywhere.
And how important is it? I want to encourage somebody and tell them, if you have, unfortunately, a woman that is incarcerated, how important is it to have that support while you are there?
It's extremely important because
All kinds of things happen to you when you ain't got no money,
yeah,
for men and women.
yeah, that's true. And people take advantage of that.
Right.
They tend to prey on people who they know are not financially supported.
Right.
You know, they take advantage of those people.
Like,
Favors, sexual favors, or they just they become outcast. You know, they're not in the in crowd. You know, they're just kind of pushed to the side and forgotten about, you know, until it's time to have them to do something for you that you wouldn't even do for yourself. So
Consuela Gaines' audience, and she's our friend who has just been released. She's been home for about 2 weeks now, and after 22 years of incarceration at St. Gabriel, she's here telling her story. Now, if there is one thing that you were able to change about that facility, or about any women's facility, what would it be? You've been 22 years.
the main thing would be having the prison to allow people from the outside to come in and help the women with legal resources.
That's not allowed?
Not on the scale that it should be, because I think a lot of times people do attempt to go into the facility, but they feel like if they allow these people to come in here, it's going to cause some type of disruption, and it's going to cause the offenders to rebel and possibly cause some type of problems within the institution. So they probably feel like allowing certain groups to come into the institution would disrupt their security.
Right.
And they're security minded first, humanitarian second. Therefore, a lot of people, if they feel like any particular organization is going to try to wake the ladies or even the men, to wake them up, more so the women. It's like they don't want the women to know that people really do care about them.
Right.
And when they don't know that, they're stagnant. They don't move. But if they're empowered with their knowledge of knowing that you have people who are willing to help you, they come alive. And it's like,
It's called hope.
exactly.
It's something.
Exactly.
And I often heard that if you have a number behind your name, if you don't have a life sentence, and you have a number behind your name, there is hope that one day. So what did it actually feel like when your feet hit freedom?
It's indescribable, actually. When I was able to step foot in my mom's pretty much brand new vehicle for the first time, and I know it's a moment that I can relive over and over again, because it was something that I know my mom had wanted to do for years, because whenever she would come visit me, she would always say, at the end of our visit, she would be like, I want to take you home with me. I'm taking my baby with me. And for her to finally, after 22 years, be able to do that,
Lord have mercy.
I think I was probably more excited for her than I was for me, to know her child is finally coming home.
And I just still say we got to encourage some of these young people. I see you with a wristwatch on your arm. I see you with diamonds on your finger. I see you with earrings. You couldn't have none of that.
No.
I see you with your hair all pretty.
No,
You couldn't have none of that
no.
in there.
Not the way we can have it out here in the world.
Now you hear
No.
stories about people, and does it take a lot of getting used to seeing this brand new world like this? Does it take, learning? I know it takes learning new things.
The technology.
Oh my God.
That's the fun part. The
Yeah.
technology is really the fun part for me. The cell phones and the laptop computers and what have you. But the people, they're different, but they're really not that much different
Right.
than what they were 22 years ago. But I pay attention to the news, and I see people, and I see the things that people are doing nowadays, and I realize that they're starting to have less and less respect
For each other.
for themselves first.
Right. And
You
for
know.
each other.
So it's
So what's next for Consuela?
well, I'm currently job hunting. I'm looking
Of
for
course.
a job. I'm a welder by trade. I graduated from Baton Rouge Community College. I also graduated in office system technology, so I can man your office. I was in the law library as a counsel substitute for nearly 10 years, so
Mhm.
I'm very knowledgeable about criminal law and some civil law too. But I have so many skills behind me. That's just a little bit of the training that I had. But I took a bad situation and made it something good for me.
And I want to encourage you and tell you, my friend, just keep on going. Don't give up. Keep applying for jobs. Keep doing what you're doing, because God's going to open a door for you. God will open a door for you if you have just made up in your mind to stay on the right road. You just keep doing good and watch and see. Won't He open a door for you? And He will. Now I want you to look in that camera and tell some young lady who may have it on her mind, that love ain't about everything, first of all. I know you love this person, you would do anything for him, but uh, sometimes that just ain't the case. That ain't the right thing, you know. And think about the decisions you make in your life. Think about the things that you're getting ready to do and what consequence you'll suffer. This lady has been incarcerated and has been blessed. You know, because I know a lot of inmates don't make it out. They got a cemetery, I heard, over there.
They
That
do.
that you know, a lot of people go in, they never come out.
That's true.
So, just encourage somebody with some words of encouragement for me. We got about
Okay.
2-3 minutes.
Well, I just want the young sisters out there to know that the very first thing you should be focused on is your education, because knowledge is something that cannot be taken away from you, no matter where you are. And knowledge is power. You probably heard that a million times, but it really is, because it can take you to places that you probably could never ever imagine.
And nobody can take it away.
And no one can take that away from you, because you've learned it, you've earned it, and it's yours. Also, believe in yourself. Too often we look for other people to validate us. We don't need anyone's validation. God validated us the day that He created us. So know that you can do anything that you set your mind to do. Don't allow anyone to deter you from doing what you know to be the thing that you want to do in life. Whatever it is that you want to do or be, you can do that if you apply yourself, if you work hard. Nothing in life that comes easy is going to last. You have to work hard for the things that are everlasting.
That's right.
So just stay focused and love yourself. Love yourself, love yourself. I can't say that enough, because when you learn how to love yourself, then you'll be able to love someone else.
Okay, I got to ask this final question. Whatever happened to Gordon?
Gordon is still in prison.
Okay.
He's in federal prison in Pollock, Louisiana.
Okay.
Right now, he has some motions that are in court.
And are you still husband and wife?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It's been a long, hard road, but we're still hanging in there. Still hanging in there. It's rough, but we do what we have to do, you know. And I'm praying, we're both praying that the courts will grant his motions and that he'll be out here with me shortly.
Really? And how promising is that? I mean, how many years did he get?
Oh, wow. It was, like I said, in federal court, he had gotten 27 and a half years.
And that's day for day.
Almost. It's 85%.
Okay.
Yeah, because right now he's sitting at like 22 years
Okay.
for the feds. But a couple of years ago, the United States Supreme Court ruled that how he was sentenced as a habitual offender, it was unconstitutional. So therefore, they have to re-sentence him.
Okay.
And that's what we're waiting on now, for him to be re-sentenced and released.
Support your family member. There are a lot of people out there incarcerated. Please support your family member if they happen to be in that situation. One never knows what a person goes through if they don't have any money. And that's what it all boils down to. So, you know, a lot of times, you know, we've been hearing that they're overcharging for the phone calls. You know, you can't even talk to your loved one a lot of times. But if you get a chance to visit, please visit, or please send $1 or $2 to somebody that's incarcerated. And I want to thank you, my friend, for sharing your story.
Thank you.
God bless you. And again, I say God will open a door for you. I know He will.
Yeah.
Just stay focused, like He said. That's going to wrap up our show today, and we'll be back again next time with another show next week with something else. In the meantime, I'm Portia Evans for A Place to Call Home. You be blessed.